Welcome, healthy friends, to the reality of health. Today we're talking about the way your mind can make you sick. Come on, Eric. Isn't that just psychosomatic? Well, of course. Actually does happen like this. Got into it a little bit recently in a few of the episodes. Today I want to get, not deeper necessarily, but give you a different perspective. You know, I like doctors and scientists and people that think outside the box. And of course, if you do that, you're ridiculed and you're buried and you know the drill. This guy here, Dr. Ryke Hamer, German doctor scientist guy, amazing theory, and sometimes things just happen in your life and then you go, well, that could explain a lot, especially when it's so direct. Well, he's pretty amazing, and I really like what he has postulated, but then about 30 other people have proved it to be true. His son died, a very tragic death, and it was very painful, not just emotionally, physically painful as well. Almost a high-profile death. He was shot. And everything he went through to get healed, his father, this guy, Dr. Hamer, was there by his side the whole time. Well, his son lost the battle. And right afterwards, Dr. Hamer, who happened to be a clinician researcher at University of Munich as an oncologist, immediately developed testicular cancer. How does that happen? Well, actually, that happens a lot. Many times do people have something happen to them and then they get a physical manifestation right out of the blue. Your mind can not only make you sick, but it can kill you. It happens. The child's death changes everything. Is there anything? I'm sure there's many things, but they usually say that's the worst thing. Could that then cause you to get sick? Well, guess what? He researched it. He went back to patients and talked to them and found a correlation between a major trauma in your mind, in your psyche, in your brain, your spirit, whatever you want to say, and then a physical manifestation of cancer, because he was in oncology. But then he found later it was more than just that. Here's just a quick introduction, and then we'll move on. But Ryke Hamer, German New Medicine. If you haven't heard this yet, he kind of developed or coined the term German New Medicine. Chief internist at the oncology clinic of the University of Munich, Germany. That would mean he was, knowledgeable, went to school, and he was chief. So they thought, obviously, that the guy was credible to give him that position. Had testicular cancer as a result of his shock provoked by the news that his son Dirk was shot on August 18, 1978. Dr. Hamer realized that he got cancer as a result of the psychological stress provoked by the death of his son. Consulting thousands of record cards of some cancerous patients of various types and discussing with many patients, he reached the conclusion that all types of cancer and similar grievous diseases are provoked by the emotional shocks that affect certain nervous centers. We'll get into it. Not saying all cancer is caused by your brain. In honor of his son, he called such a stressful shock the syndrome Dirk Hamer, SDH. Analyzing thousands of tomographies of cancer patients, he discovered that the affected nervous centers, that's of the brain, by the DHS, that's the Dirk Hamer Syndrome, emotional shocks suffer an impact that affects structurally and functionally the respective nervous zones. That's the zone of the brain to the point of impact in the body. The impact provokes through some vibrational waves certain lesions of the nervous centers occurring at the scanner, in the scanner that would be your CT scanner, in the form of concentric rings. The affected nervous centers structurally and functionally impact the organs. They control directly the coming out of the cancer. The investigations performed gave him the conviction that both cancer and similar serious diseases have their origin in the brain. The brain injured by the DHS emotional shock that surprised the patient totally unprepared. The main role in the coming out of these diseases is played by the psychic brain organ ratio. That's important. We'll get into it. The nervous zone affected by the emotional shock works out a biological program through which it induces the disease in the organ it controls. Such a disease develops in two phases: the phase of active conflict, which means the starting of the disease and its development, and the phase of healing or self-healing programmed throughout the nervous system. So what he's saying is an area of the brain then tells the organ in the body through the central nervous system to react and sort of protect itself, change itself. It adapts for whatever reason in any way that it feels it needs to. I know. Just trust me. We'll get into it. Eric, it's just psychosomatic. Is it? Isn't everything? Shoot, all kinds of people think of things and then make them true in their life. Lots of people think they're handsome, they're beautiful, they're charming. They think their knee hurts, or they think that they're rich, or they think all kinds of things, and then they believe them to be true. And then they function, everything they do in their life, they function as if it's like that's real. Humans do it all the time. He proved it, though. Here are these rings that he was talking about. So obviously it would be the right brain. I think that's the right side. That ring, those concentric rings you see there, he would see those in all areas all around the body in correlation to where the organ is or the tissue of the body. Yeah. Eric, this is ridiculous. Anybody who knows anything about CT scans knows that that is an artifact. Really? Here's another one in a different place. These are all his photos. Guess what? Siemens actually documented they cannot be artifacts. By the way, Siemens makes the machine called the CT scan that looks in here, and they said, nope, not true. So when CT scan people, what do they, the people who actually do the reading or create the scan, they can adjust things to get rid of it. Well, it's just changing things like a microscope. You turn it a little bit and you can't see that. You're looking at something else. When really, that's what you need to be looking for. So anyway, Siemens said, not true. So then it will manifest that brain area into an area in your body. For example, with breast cancer, women who specifically worry about something, they're so concerned that it's overtaking their life. He found the correlation between breast cancer and worry. Lung issues, men or women, and also found left side, right side, which is crazy. But lung cancer was a definitive situation, like a brush with death. Something really like you almost died, whatever that could be. These people ended up having lung cancer. Isn't that amazing? And of course, testicular cancer for men who have major loss in their life. That happens. Why does it happen? Well, pretty simple. So he's seeing a correlation in the brain up here. Well, that has to go all the way down the spinal cord and into affected tissues. See? Everything comes from the brain, goes to the tissues. Simple. Starts in the brain as a shock, a situation that's overwhelming, something that really had an impact on your psyche and your brain and your mental clarity, all of it. And then it manifests by doing a protection mechanism somewhere in the body, like lungs, because you had a brush with death. Breasts, because you're worried about something. Why does it show up there? Probably some pretty cool correlations. I just don't know all of them yet. This is just a primer on this. We're not going to get deep. This is only part 1. The 5 biological laws of German New Medicine. So he created these 5 things that he saw that were predominantly happening to every single situation. The first one is your mind. It's like you thought it, you felt it, you experienced something, and then it will manifest in the body. That then turns into phase 1 or 2. So this will be the second law. Oh, real quick, I just want to go back here a second. So what he also found was not just cancer. He also found everything from tiny little things, little skin lesions, to bigger things, digestive issues, to obviously cancer and liver issues and all kinds of things, pain in the body all over the place. It wasn't just cancer. His correlations of finding out that the brain created issues in the body. And it's not like you can stop it. I mean, things just happen. And the way to do it is to clear it out. Figure it out, how to get it out of your brain. Go into a little bit of that here in a second. Anyway. So essentially, what happens then is it affects your conscious, preconscious, and unconscious mind. You could call it your psyche, your spirit, whatever you want to call it. But the things you're in control of, you're kind of not really in control of, and the things you have no idea that are going on because they're going on underneath the surface. This is known as your central nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic. What he found was this emotional shock, this thing that you went through, it stimulated the sympathetic nervous system highly. I mean, it directly affected it, which we know, right? You get adrenaline, your blood pressure goes up, any number of situations. But also could immediately manifest very, very quickly as a health, like an actual ailment, like a disease, whatever that is. So it starts in the sympathetic, it gets overblown, it's in the fight mode, and then you have to rest and recuperate and repair. So now you get into the parasympathetic, and guess what? You feel a little bit of symptoms here, but when your body has to repair it, you feel a lot of symptoms here. This is where you get the swelling and the inflammation and all the pain and the nausea, or the poor sleep, or the sensitive skin, to no appetite and headaches, whatever, right? You get all of it because the parasympathetic's like, all right, we're going to repair underneath here now. We got to get this. We got to fix this situation. We can't have this. Well, guess what? You feel this side more than this side. So what do? Well, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. You have to figure out how, whether it's meditation or prayer or talking to people or getting counseling, anything you can to first affect the mind. Quit thinking about it. That's easier said than done, Eric. I just lost my child, or this happened, or that happened. I understand. Trust me, life is not easy. There's a lot of bad things that happen. But if you don't get back on that horse, you might as well just turn it in. Just turn yourself in. Just give up. Is that what you want to do? I highly doubt it if you're listening to this, podcast, video thing, whatever I have going on. You have to figure out a way. This is where maybe faith is a thing. Giving it up to a higher power. Meditate. I don't know. Whatever works for you. But you have to start someplace. You will never start healing unless you can get your mind right. You can sit there and say all the time, oh, I know what I need to do. Then you got to do it. So I'm giving you a little bit of tough love. Time to get going. Let's do it. Real quickly, just want to interrupt and say that since I've gone video, I am having major issues with not only audio video sync, but then my little, me down in the corner like that. Sometimes it's in really good focus. Other times it's terrible. Well, if you're on BitChute, there's nothing you can do about that. They have poor video quality, and that's because they don't have the bandwidth or the ability to store, high def. Some people somehow get past it. I cannot figure out how. I've worked with them. If you're on Brighteon, it's better. Sometimes it's just as bad as anything else. I have all my codecs, all of my settings are done properly, and I'm only doing 1080 30 frames per second. I'm doing MP3 and audio. Point is, YouTube has ability to go to the highest resolution. Rumble, Brighteon, and BitChute do not. And so you kind of get what you get. I can upload one video and it's really great. Upload another one, not so great. I apologize for that. If you want to see video, then don't look at me, I guess. Otherwise, you can go audio and go to any audio platform. It's out there. Or you can go to my website. So I just want to say I'm sorry. If anybody knows what I'm doing wrong, or if there's just no way to fix it, it is what it is, I'd love to hear from you. Sorry for the interruption. So then you have to repair. And that repairing process, that restoration of your tissues, boy, there's a lot going on, like a lot. This is where you really, really feel it. So your parasympathetic side, and your body's going to town. From bacteria to enzymes to nervous system stimulation to no, don't eat this. No, please eat more. I mean, all of it starts coming in and you're going to feel it. Here's a great example of the restoration process. So you get inflammation and scarring. So here you can see a guy with acne. There's your inflammation and it's going to work. Oh, but Eric, acne is caused by bacteria. Well, yeah, bacteria is there to remedy the situation. That's why they're there. So when you're all done, you end up with scarring. This is a pretty good representation because it's something quick you can usually get, you can usually handle. But point is, that's a thing. You have to inflame, then you have to repair. And when you get done repairing, you're going to have scars. Scarring or scar tissue is a problem later on. Yes, it's better than nothing, but you don't want scar tissue. So when you're trying to repair, the healthier you can do that repair, taking care of yourself, stop poisoning yourself, increase your nutrition, get rid of anything that poisons you electronically, all those EMFs we talk about. Get into a healing state and definitely get anything good like grounding and sun or sauna. I'm not a big fan of cold baths. I know it sounds weird, but things like let your dog lay on your lap. A dog imparts infrared energy into you. Plus, they're awesome and it makes you feel good, but they can help with healing. It's a fact. So any way that you can increase healing response, time to do it. But the number one thing that you have to avoid, you are obviously doing things like therapies and talking to people or praying, and change up your diet now because you're completely freaked out because you have cancer, and you're going to see this specialist and this person and support groups or whatever it is. Well, guess what is the number one killer? That would be fear. Fear is literally the opposite of faith and healing. Literally the opposite. People are in fear of viruses getting them, bad bacteria, some kind of infection. They are worried about everything, like can't shake a person's hand. Oh my gosh, somebody sneezed. Now I'm going to get sick. We are so worried constantly that we are now separating and dividing humans from each other because we all think that another human's going to make me sick. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Go back, listen to my episodes. Start learning new biology. The old paradigm is on its way out, I'm telling you. The studies and the scientists are proving that pretty much 90% of what you learned about health is not true. It's there to sell drugs and make money. It's nothing to do with your health. You got to stop the fear. You know what fear does to people? It creates what's called a nocebo effect. Talked about that an episode or two ago. A harmless thing that causes harm because you believe it's harmful. Right? We do this. So I told this story a little bit ago, but not everybody has maybe seen that episode. But there are studies like this all the time where they will tell somebody we're going to give you something that's supposed to give you a bunch of symptoms when they just give them a placebo. And then they get sick. The exact things that they said they were going to have. And they wait and they monitor this person. Oh yeah, he's going through or she's going through headaches and nausea and all the stuff and fever even and all of the things. And then they finally say, all right, wanted to let you know this is over. We've got everything we need. I just want to let you know that we gave you a placebo. And the person says, what? Well, how did I get sick? You believed you were going to get sick. We told you you were going to get sick. Your mind made it real. Fact. Happens. It is the way humans are. Your mind will make it real in your body. It's not just psychosomatic, although it is that too. You are telling yourself, I am going to get sick. You most likely will. So don't fear something that you don't have to fear. Well, I wanted to keep this one a little shorter for part one. We'll get more in depth from this point on, and it's really interesting stuff. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.